with the plan. I ain't Clark Kent, but some of the ladies do call me Superman. It's your boy, Big Cali. I'm here feeling good, feeling great as usual. Coming at you with another one, another great episode, another special guest. This man, I don't even know where to start. A man of many talents, bro. Like, first off, great artist, makes some of the hardest rap music, singing. I don't know if it's singing rap. It's all over the spectrum. I don't even know what to justify that. We're going to talk into his music. Also, world-renowned dancer, tap dancer, choreographer. I'm sure you do many different levels. We're going to talk into the dance career. Yeah. Also, man, we're going to just touch into all your art, man. I don't know. I don't want to mispronounce your last name. So, Leo, is it Manzari?
Yeah, Leo Manzari.
Leo Manzari. Yeah, all right, appreciate you, man.
Also, thanks for the love, man.
I appreciate you, G. I didn't want to mess with your last name. It's too swagged out. I was like, I would call you Leo the whole time. I ain't called your last name.
Yeah, well, there's a controversy in my family whether it's Manzari or Manzari, but I like Manzari.
Well, of course it has to be some kind of controversy. It's too swagged out, bro.
Yeah.
If somebody's gonna say they want a tomato, man. I can dig it. I can dig it, man. But man, so how you been doing this whole like pandemic, man? How's everything been going, bro? I see you've been working. You've been actually doing a bunch of shit.
Man. Now I feel like we've been immersed in it for long enough where I've been able to find my footing a bit more than in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was like, I was living in New York. I retreated to DC because my mom lives there. I wanted to take care of her and like be with her during it.
Right.
And it was just like a whole thing as the world experienced loss and sadness and depression. Like it was just, we were all in a fragile state. And plus like the movement that happened for civil rights immersed in that as well was just like a whole revamping and rescoping of how I view the world. You know what I mean? So for those reasons, it was like stressful at that point, but it was very important because I was able to create and what I'm saying, like do shit that I love. Oh, can we cuss on here?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
Say whatever you want. This is Big Cali's world plan.
Yeah, I figured.
I appreciate you asking. That's how I know you've been doing a lot of interviews. Yeah. You've been doing a lot of different ones.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man, I've been able to more than cope, but actually like thrive just because I've been able to spend so much time alone and with people I care about and just work and just create. Yeah,
bro. And where do you find that? Like, because I'm gonna be real with you. Those first few months of the pandemic, bro, I wasn't doing nothing. It was so long before I DJ'd. I was just sitting in the funk like, okay, it's going to be 4 weeks. It's going to be 6 weeks. It's going to be 2 months. It's going to be 3 months. I don't know what's going on, man. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm out here in LA. It's time to work. Like, cause I just moved to Hollywood like about 8 months ago.
Oh, shit.
So when I seen you when I was working and I would go talking to how we even met, I literally I'm green out here. So I was just like, all right, it's time to grind. It's time to get it. But I admired a lot of the artists that really wasn't stopping. They were like, all right, fuck it. We in here. I'm in the house. I'm going to create, bro. So would you say that's how, these new projects been coming along and the video? Because you showed me that video. Crazy. I don't know when you're dropping that. I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about it?
We can talk about it.
That shit said private leak. It said, nigga, if you show anybody, you die. I was like, all right.
You got the VIP pass, bro. VIP.
I appreciate it, dog. I appreciate it. But now talk about well, before we even move forward to us now, I always like to go back. I want to, where did it start? Where'd you start? Where are you from, man? So like where'd you from?
Yeah, so I'm from Washington, DC.
You're from DC?
Born and raised, literally didn't live anywhere else after or before I turned 18. And then once I turned 18, I traveled so a ridiculous amount.
PG County?
Not like DC proper, like Washington, DC, like we get the DMV scope. So some people who live in Maryland or Virginia leak over and say DC, which is cool, but I'm from DC.
I'm from DC. Like I'm from DC. I love it.
And I love DC, man. career started. Well, my dance training started when I was like very young, like 2 years old. But then when I
That's
hit
what I was going to ask
14,
you. Was it dance or music first?
definitely dance first, because my mom put us in, me and my siblings, and I just trained in that, which kind of gave me a work ethic and an understanding of my instrument, my body. You know what I'm saying? It gave me that understanding. And then when I hit 14, my mentor Maurice Hines, that's when I met him, and that's a whole thing that
Hold
caused.
on. You can't just throw that out there like just my mentor when I was 14, Maurice Hines. Bro, the older brother of Gregory Hines, I'm assuming, correct?
Exactly, 100%, yeah.
Oh my God. If people don't know who Gregory Hines is, go Google. Google and then go pick yourself. Your mama used to watch him in Waiting to Exhale and Tap.
Exactly.
One of the oldest dancers ever, though, man. How did that happen, bro? At 14, you got mentored by him?
Yeah, because we met him. He was hosting a class and then a series of auditions. And then me and my brother, we went auditioned and then we got the part. And that was cool because that's also the time where I got interested in music. So I was professionally working as a tap dancer. And, you know, like it was one of those things. We weren't playing a role in the show. We were playing ourselves because we were the featured act to his thing. So I was able to still find my genuine through authentic artistic voice through that show as a tap dancer, but then continue doing that with music on the off hours. And then, so then I was just been
14, bro.
Yeah, 14.
You're mature prodigy, bro. Like, that's crazy. I wish I was thinking that shit at 14. I was trying to get girls and see if I could fake smoke some weed or something like that at 14.
Yeah, bro. That's hilarious, bro.
But then, you know what though? But from dancing from two to 14, I want to know about maybe even those early years. Like, were you liking dance? Were you like, this is tight? Or is it like a forced thing? Like, all right, go. Nah, mama dropped me out the thing.
That's a great question. So it's mixed because like there were times where I really didn't want to do it. But if I had, if I didn't have like my mom or like my brother and my sister that really I don't want to say didn't give me a choice, but when it got hard, they didn't let me quit because there was an expectation, especially when you're a competition dancer, which I was. I grew up doing regional national competitions. So if you do it for the first 3 months and then in the middle of the year, you like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, then that's you quitting, not just classes, that's you quitting on your entire competition team and the entire group of people that counted on you to do these dances until nationals. So there was no option of quitting.
No, there is no quit. There's too many motherfuckers involved.
Yeah, exactly. There's no option of quitting. So it was like, all right. So that gave me, like I said, the work ethic and discipline. But the whole time I was hearing music and lyrics in my head the whole time. And the point where I started to be like, nah, I need to focus on music was, I remember it was very definitive because I was in class and they were teaching the choreography and it was chill, like we were warming up. But I wasn't paying attention to the teacher because I was just like doing shit over the music to the point where they were like, Leo, like what's wrong with you? And I was like, fuck, like I'm distracted. Yeah, I'm distracted. Like I really want to write to this. I don't feel like moving right now. And then at that point, then I just started to, try to polish my skills, sharpen it with the pen,
Right. And you were, so at that time, were you just writing rap? Were you singing? Was it just rhyming words? Like, who was it at that point?
I'll say I was trying.
Respect.
I was trying to sing. I was trying to rap, but I didn't know what it was then. At that point, I was just expressing. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just really saying the things I needed to say to process the things that I was going through.
Yeah.
And for that reason, that's like, so I didn't know what I was doing, but then eventually the older I got and the more it got developed, it like kind of shaped into a craft. And then I was like, oh, this falls in music, falls in dance. But for me, what makes my artistry as a dancer musician is because I don't see the fine line between those two things.
I was going to say that. Yeah, because honestly, when I was even listening to your music like that you sent me, and then when you were showing me the video, your tapping when you were dancing was very synced to the lyrics, was very synced to even down to like, you'd be like, and then when you go, it was like a tap. It was like, you could tell, like, I can like, almost they used to say, not compare you to Mike, but like Michael Jackson, when he used to record music, he would dance as he's recording. So he'll be recording and have the full choreography in his head, how he wanted to shoot it in his head after he's done even doing the song.
Yeah,
So would you say those
exactly.
two things go hand in hand too? You be like, would you do that?
Definitely, man. That's also a goal of mine to even be to use my instrument in a similar way that Michael does. So like that comparison like means a lot. I'm not nearly what nearly what Michael
No,
Jackson
I don't
is.
want to put that pressure on you. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no
you
pressure.
know.
No pressure.
I'm working, but god damn.
Yeah, I know. I ain't gonna try, but I mean, for what I say for sake of argument, you were 2 years old starting dancing.
Yeah.
Then
You
you
know.
were doing music. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
stories. I mean, they're off, but then they too off, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, I feel you. I love to pay respect to that and then just try to take, Gregory Hines, Jimmy Slide, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, like mix all these Marvin Gaye, all these people up and just present something that is a concoction of that I made.
Was Gregory Hines one of the first dancers you seen, like as far as growing up? Or like who was like a figure you saw, you were like, dang, yeah, I want to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, definitely Gregory Hines. Also Sammy Davis Jr.
R.I.P. both of them. Kings.
Yeah, exactly.
Kings.
Yeah, and they're also so back to the fine line issues, like the multidimensionalism of the artistry. It's not a musician, it's not just dance, it's not just acting. In those days they call them showmen. There's the classic showman.
Yeah.
And there's like no limitation to, what I'm saying, how far you can go. So the reason I look to those people in terms of dance, music, and acting is because they did all of those things.
Yeah.
And they were really good. Like Sammy Davis Jr. was incredibly like self-trained in singing and tap dancing, and his impersonations were on point. And Gregory Hines
too. That was crazy. Like he acted like as a black man in those days, it wasn't good enough to just do one thing. Mm-hmm. You couldn't just sing, you couldn't just dance. You had to sing, dance, orchestrate, damn near play, damn near do everything because it was that hard. And when you mention those men, like trust me, I remember, and tell me if this movie means anything to you. I remember watching the movie Tap when I was a kid.
That means everything to me.
I already know. That's like your Oracle? Is that like your Crush Groove?
That's a classic. Because tap dancers broke through. We broke through to Hollywood and we were seen.
I never seen tap dancing until okay. Of course, when I was younger, you go to your nana's house or your grandma's house, you'll see the Cab Calloway, black and white stuff. So you see the black man, or I forget, it was the brothers. It was the two brothers.
The Nicholas brothers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was them, and they were dancing. And then just the history, like you seen it, but I never saw it where it was like, hold up, it's this young kid learning how to dance from all these OGs. And I remember it was a scene where it was like Sammy Davis, Gregory Hines, and is it Savion Glover, I believe his name? He was a little kid. And then they were learning from them doing. I was like, dang, I want to learn how to tap dance. I was inspired to do it. Man, I must have asked my dad. I was like, all right, Dad, I want to do tap dancing. He was like, yeah, you ain't want to do that.
I'm teaching lessons, bro. What's good with it?
You gonna have me out there?
I'm on Zoom. I come in person if you're in LA.
I love it. I love the tap dancing. No, but I wanted to learn from that movie. So talk about maybe what that movie meant to you besides, of course, breaking through. But I mean, you had to be younger watching it because I was hella young watching it. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, I also saw it years after it came out too. It was just, when I got older and like it was presented to me, what it means to me is just like tap dancers have a core identity that is original about each individual. So, a Sandman Sims, aside from his use of sand as friction on the floor in which he makes sound, right? He doesn't wear taps on the shoes. He works the sand and the friction. He's different from a Jimmy Slide, whose cadence in his dancing is to slide and his equilibrium is off, or it looks to be off. It looks like he's floating, or it looks like he's hovering. To the Nicholas brothers who can do splits for days. Everybody had their core identity. And
that's so tight.
Yeah, that just taught me like, oh, okay, so you can in fact be completely original. And I took that just from a tap dance perspective from that movie. And also it's just a really nice love story. You know what I'm saying? Like Suzanne Douglas plays alongside Gregory Hines, and seeing Gregory act is an incredible honor too, because he's really great. So yeah,
man. So talk about those first times working with his brother as a kid, as a mentor, because I'm sure you knew who he was or did you know who he was as a kid? Did you even know what it was?
Yeah, I was familiar with more so Gregory Hines just because his medium was movies and Maurice's theater. But when I discovered Maurice Hines, I was very young and I was just appreciative because he welcomed us under his wing. And he always, like, you know, he would always encourage us to do whatever we wanted to do. So, like, also when I stepped down to music, like, it wasn't like he was like, don't do that. Like, that's not good. Like, he knows it's part of my purpose and like my message through my raps and shit. He's always supported that. You know what I'm saying?
What was a typical day for people that don't know? Because I'm sure people be like, okay, what's tap? Like they see tap dancing, but like in rehearsal, what's the difference? Like what kind of regiment would he put you through at the age of 14 to even help develop it? What was those things? What was those practices like? Are we talking 4 to 5 hours a day, an hour? Where you like on some prodigy shit where he have you in the basement, no air, and you just go in there?
Did he put weights on your ankles and have you run 10 miles?
Exactly, man.
Yeah. So actually our performance training we got from Maurice, but in terms of our feet, we actually studied a lot with other people. And then since I was 14, like a lot just by myself, learning how to do it and then learning from online and stuff. But this training from Maurice, the normal day was like a tech rehearsal or a dress rehearsal that is in preparation for a 3-month-long 8-show-a-week commitment. Those are the types of shows that I grew up doing. So, you know, that it's like if you were to go to Broadway, the same way that they have 8 or sometimes more opportunities for you to see a show, it was the same thing for us as tap dancers with him because, you know, Mr. Hines, he has his own following already. So he was doing these shows already, which was originally a one-man act. But then when he found us, he took us under his wing. And then, you know, like he would just always teach us to be our biggest selves on stage. And he mainly taught us through example. I learned a lot about storytelling and a lot about, you know, rhythmic and melodic phrasing and timing. I learned a lot of that just by watching him.
I'm sorry if I'm asking a lot of tap. Because first off, you're the first tap dancer I'll probably ever talk to that was
that's cool.
accessible. Because you see him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder how you do because all it was I see, I'm gonna be real. When I saw you on stage with Nava and you were dancing, I was like, this motherfucker is smooth as shit though. Like it ain't like I don't think it's just tap with you. Like you can do any kind of dancing. Like I think you just choose to tap. Was that what like I know I asked this before, but kind of like why not like merengue, salsa, hip hop, jazz? Like why tap at a key? You're like, yep, give me those. I want to do that at all.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that a lot, man. Honestly, it's just because tap is dope as shit. It's just dope. Like I think other things are cool, but there's no other dance that has the debonair, the class that's embedded in such a smooth rhythmic dance. It's just cool. It feels good. It commands a room. I've tap danced in like places from like underground, basement, jazz jams, and at Smalls Jazz Club. You know what I'm saying? Like or like shit to big orchestra pits. You know what I'm saying? And tap dance is always the head turner. And I don't, you know, I'm very like I've studied the craft and everything, and obviously like I take ownership over like the succession shit, but like that's not me. Like that's the dance. Like the dance has truly guided me, and I give no credit to myself. Like almost to a fault sometimes. Like people have to tell me to do that, but it's just out of respect for the dance, just because it's cool as fuck. It's just cool.
Like, but it's your skill of that craft that makes it tight. Like, how about this? I respect DJing. I love DJing. I respect it. But I know the art of DJ, I know it's not like the art of DJing that birthed hip hop, that whole thing. I know for a fact, basically, it's not me, it's the art. Like I can only do so much, but the art of DJing's always been here. Every time we went to a party, you always looked at the DJ and he was like the center of attention. That's why I was like, oh, this is tight. I talk, I love music. Yeah. Why not have both of them? I could do it, right? But there's a lot of people that know that art that don't do it right. And it make it kind of like wrong. So that's why I always say, like, it takes those times of you practicing your craft, put it in those hours to shape this art that you love so much. And that shows your appreciation for the art, you know? Because I remember Santana said that I listened to a documentary and he was talking, and he said he practices, you know, to the craft, like to the art, like 8 hours a day. He still practices. Santana. And he says it's like giving an offering to the gods. Yeah. Because he's like, he knows it's not me. So he's like, I have to keep playing because I'm giving my offering to the gods. So when you're saying that, it makes sense, man. Honestly, bro.
I love that. I love everything you just said.
That's fucking tight, bro. So like, was your family artistic? Did you come from like an artistic family? Like, were they into the arts? Like, what about that?
Yeah, so my mom is a singer, a beautiful voice, but it was one of those situations where her mom didn't see the value in it as much, so she didn't like elevate her to her fullest potential.
You ain't gonna get no job from that. That ain't no real career, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Which, you know, we've heard many dreams be crushed like that, and I don't think it was as deep as like a dream was crushed, but it definitely was like an opportunity unseized just because her mom didn't like see the benefit in it. So like my mom made sure to always encourage what I was doing artistically and treated it as something to be respected and admired, which I think helped me commit to it. Because if somebody's constantly telling you that what you're doing is stupid or a waste of time or you won't make money, you're going to stop doing it.
Trust me. Golly, we deal with that all the time, especially out here in California, because there's so many artists out here. Everyone's an artist. Like, everyone's doing something. So as a kid, you're like, yeah, I want to be a DJ. I want to be a producer. I want to be a rapper. It's like, yeah, you should go to college and get your degree and have that as a backup plan. Like, your art is the backup. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, why are you planning for plan B? You're planning to fail.
Exactly, yeah. So if plan A is to plan for plan B, you're not doing it right.
What? No, you're like, okay, I'm planning to fail, basically. So if it fails, it's like, no, go all in. But I wasn't even like, I had to get that from a lot of my mentors because I had real old school parents. So how your mom was it? That's really how, like, all right, I didn't have that artistic. My dad was a chef. My mom was a nurse. So that was my house. But they always played music in my house. Music was a constant presence because my dad's from New Orleans. So I was listening to jazz. I was listening to Coltrane, Miles Davis, all that shit at 6. I knew that shit at 6.
Oh, yeah.
So in your house, what would you say was basically playing around your house growing up, man?
My mom played a lot of Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson. And then, you know, I found Sammy Davis through like just the dance community and everything. But my mom also loved Barbra Streisand. She loves
niggas don't talk about Barbra Streisand, but she has some slaps. There's some Barbra Streisand cuts, especially her with the Gibb brother from the Bee Gees. I want to say Barry. He did the song with Barry.
She's very, like, her craft is just so strong and polished. I actually did a show at the Kennedy Center where she also sang, but it was one of those things that was like high security, so I didn't actually get to like meet her.
Oh my god!
Like, because it was like stage right, stage left, like you couldn't cross. But yeah, and that's like my mom loves Barbra Streisand, and like you know, she listened to just a bunch of black artists too, most everybody I just named is black, but. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was just very well informed and she listened to
what
jazz.
was going on.
Yeah. So naturally, those musical tendencies kind of rubbed off on me with the combination of who I was learning through in dance training, which was like a lot of contemporary artists, so like Postal Service, Coldplay.
Yes.
These are very common warm-up songs. I'm trying to think of who else. Death Cab for Cutie.
Okay.
Imogen Heat, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So like, there's that knowledge over there, and then also I really love. I was actually part of a cappella unit at my school, and I learned a lot about just how chords and harmonies come together. And
so you were singing in school too.
Yeah,
so you were always singing and doing music. So really, when you turn 14, you weren't playing. You're like, oh, I'm doing music. This is happening.
Yeah.
So tight.
No, it was like, and it was one of those things. It's funny because I still have people that watched me and supported me through in high school that are now like I'm friends with now. And it's just crazy to see how their dreams, as well as what they're doing, as well as my dreams, that we talked about and kind of like tried to manifest over the years from a young age. Now where we are in our lives, and like we're doing it professionally. And I sometimes just take a step back because I'm just like, yo, like that's crazy. Like I'm still doing what my 14-year-old self said that he wanted to do. I'm still doing it.
You know, I posted a picture because I DJ a cannabis festival, a canna festival out here in Riverside, and I posted the picture, I was DJing. You could see my face. I was smiling like hella G. I'm always smiling. I'm always smiling, always laughing. That's my shit, right? And in the caption I said, when your dreams become your job, that then makes it feel like it's not work. It's like the greatest feeling ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's like when you finally know, it's like, oh shit, like I can really do this and make money and live. Finally, like this is that moment. When would you say was that moment to you where you're like, okay, I can commit to this art of doing this? Because I was doing music in high school, doing tap. Mm-hmm. When was it like, okay, I can take this serious now? Now it's time to capitalize.
Yeah, I love that quote that you just said too.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate. Trust me.
Yeah. So pretty much for me, like I've always been creative, like in like creative by necessity. Like a lot of the songs I wrote were venting songs. A lot of the tap jams I had in my basement were venting jams. Like I'm very much not a chosen artist. Like I'm an artist in the sense of all the good things and all the really fucking annoying things. So very sensitive. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've learned how to. I'm a Pisces.
Okay, I put that in context.
Yeah, that's funny, bro.
I love it. Okay. Now it all makes sense. You're like, oh yeah, no. I had to tap it out. I had to sneak it out. We're gonna get this shit out, bro.
But actually, it's been artistic expression by necessity. And like I think every artist, true artist at their core has that. I feel like what happens over time is as you age, the conformities of our society start to pressure you, and then it mutes your voice. And then by you thinking that what you have to say is not important, it therefore disables you from saying what the world needs to hear from you.
It's actually important and actually
Yeah.
You know, it's a good example of that. I can say you were talking about Marvin Gaye. When he first came out, he was dropping like, I don't want to say doo-woppy music, but real like Ain't a Mountain High and like good music. Don't get me wrong. All the slaps, we like heard it through the grapevine. We love those songs. But when he dropped What's Going On, the label was not fucking with him. They were like, hey, bro, like, I don't know. We like it, but it's experimental. You're talking about the war. You're talking about your drug addiction. And you have a song talking about Jesus all in the same album. I don't know, bro. Yeah. And then literally from him dropping that, gave the voice to so many artists because they saw him do it. I get what you mean when you say that, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly. Crazy. And I also realize how like privileged that we are living in this time, because for us, for it to express how we're truly feeling about the state of how we're living in society, we, at least on a mass scale, aren't threatened with death, right? Like we're not fearful of being like killed, kidnapped, burned alive. Like I know that's super dark, but that shit used to happen for people speaking out, which is like terrible. So like I'm like, and I think about that every day. Like just the fact that I, one, can have the nerve to say something, and two, it be heard and actually appreciated and actually be considered something as a useful tool for people that listen to it, to use the music as like kind of like a guide. Like I like to make music with a purpose. So it's like I'll be saying, you know, overcome your insecurities, like pursue your dreams, like very much that underdog mentality that I hope inspires people. And I'm just honored that we get to like even do that, yo. I don't take that for granted.
No, you know, man. When would you say you found your voice? Like when you say you did that, when was it like you're like, okay, this is the music I want to make. This is, you know, or have you? Are you still discovering it? You know, that's the fun part about artistry. You like, have you?
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know.
What I can say is that I feel like every project that I make is closer and closer to what it is.
I like
or like what I want it to be. Like every project I feel like it's just a little closer. Like, and I don't think I'll ever fully feel like, yeah, this is it. But I think what happens over time is you accumulate a bunch of work through the momentum that you have. And then by the time you reach 60 or 70 years old, you can look back and say, wow, I actually had it the whole time, or I was working on it and it got there at this point. Or the fact that I did it in the first place made it to the point of where it needed to be. You know,
wow, I like that.
There's certain things that you think about in your old age that, like, I learned from Maurice. Like, seeing Maurice reflect on his life and be like, yeah, I have no regret. And he's just like, I've done everything I wanted to do. He's like,
that's powerful, bro.
That's
Ain't all
crazy.
we want. That's all we want. Like a day, like, I did it all.
Yeah. You know? Yo, when I say like he's content, I mean content. He's like, I've raised a kid. He's like, I've done movies, I've done television, I've done commercials, I've traveled the world, I've done theater. He's like, I've dated great men. He's like, he loves all, like, and he's just like, I've done everything I wanted to do. And he's fully content, yo. Like, wow. And I think that's something to aspire for. And the tool that got him to be able to reflect like that is to just do. Like, he doesn't overthink shit. He just does.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So if more people did that, I feel like they would be able to follow their artistic voice a bit better.
How about this? You know what's funny? As simple as what you said, that's probably the hardest shit to do. Is just do.
Yeah.
It's just do. Follow your purpose. Know in your head what you want to do and commit to it. Whether you're profitable or not. You're just gonna keep doing it until it works. Keep doing it, that repetitive motion. And I mean, you doing it with tap. Then you started doing it in music. And I'm sure you do it in your business, because we see you, bro, you're working. I don't care what anyone says. I see it's a lot of people who are artists who have talent, but they're not working because a lot of them don't network. A lot of them don't talk to people, don't follow up, don't send the emails, don't do the right relationships when you are in the room with people. You know, because we're talking about, you know, your whole career with tap, and we were talking about it even in the music. But a lot of people don't know, like, I met you on set. And we were at Dash Radio, and you were working with T Nava. Shout out T Nava from the Free Nationals.
Shout out.
And when I say, I was like, I would have assumed you've been in this industry for the past 25 years. Like, bro, you were just poised, professional, came in, it was chaotic on set. And you were like, okay, I got it. Yep. Right when it was right when it was your turn, you're like, boom, and just start fucking it up. I was like, oh yeah. Talk to everyone, said what's up, followed up with everybody, did it the right way. How'd you develop that poise and that work ethic in your art to even progress your art?
Man, that's super dope, man. I'm glad that came across. I never want to be the guy that you do a gig with and you're like, damn, who's that nigga? I hate that. Yeah. Or like, damn, he didn't do his job. Like, that's the worst thing to do.
You know what's worse is when it's the marquee artist
the
person, the big name, and you're like, bro, what?
Let's rearrange those letters and put a different. It doesn't cost that much. We'll just change it.
Right.
That's just hilarious. Okay.
How'd you develop that work ethic though that led to you even progressing in your art though? Because obviously you're working with a lot of marquee artists. I saw you with Daniel Sterling. I saw you working with Mr. Hines, excuse me. And I've seen you working with the Free Nationals. Like, it ain't like it's just, oh yeah, I'm a dancer, makes music, then all these multi-Grammy award-winning artists want to work with you. how did that process even start, and where'd you learn it? Like, talk about that a little
Definitely.
bit.
Well, man, I've just been very fortunate to perform a lot. Like I've performed a lot. I grew up doing since the age of 14. I grew up doing 8 shows a week. And there were off times. It's not like I was doing that for my entire life up to this point, but I've gotten like a good like thousands of shows under my belt in front of audiences that if I fuck up, it's a very big deal. You know what I'm saying? So I've been in very high pressure situations since I was young, even with like meet and greets for like, show openings that we're having, and how to work a room and talk. And again, man, everything that I do, and I will continue to credit this man until the last breath I take, Maurice Hines. Like straight up. I've never seen somebody like convert a room and like see the energy completely shift and like to be the most uplifting place to be in. Like he really has that effect. It's like magic, bro. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. And he actually has a documentary about his life called Maurice
I'm about
Hines
to say, can you play? I'm about to watch that. I feel like I've known about Gregory, but I haven't known about Maurice. Like I haven't known a lot about him.
Yeah,
I know about his brother, but I haven't done the research. But from what you're telling me, he gave you the blueprint. A lot of the blueprint of what it is.
Yeah, man. And just kind of like, I mean, there's a reason why somebody that is in his 70s is still in show business and chooses to be in show business. And that's because he didn't, for lack of better words, he didn't fuck up to burn relationships because of being late, because of, you know what I'm saying, because he didn't know the choreography. He didn't know his lines. He always knows his choreography. He's always on time. He's early most of the time. He knows his lines. He's good at what he does. He knows his instrument. He knows how to warm up. Like these are just things that because he did it, I knew that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be on the gig. You know what I'm saying? So I really credit him, man. I get it from him.
Man, like Jordan said, I would never ask any of my teammates to do something I wouldn't do or I can't do.
Yeah, exactly.
So when people say I'm a hard ass and I be on people's bumper, it's because I do it too. I have that winning attitude. I respect that, bro. Because even at your young age, you're 14, 15, you have to think like an adult. This isn't a kid game.
No.
I don't give a the entertainment industry is not, it's children in it. But them children is like 30. Them motherfuckers, they damn near paying bills. They know accounts receivable. They know what's going on. They get it, man.
That's actually funny you say that because actually, so the first show that we did was Sophisticated Ladies. I was 14, turning 15, and I was the youngest person on there by like decades, maybe like 15 years or whatever. And I wasn't only in the show, but I was a swing. Are you familiar with what a swing is?
No, what's a swing?
So a swing is like when you are an understudy for all of the parts. So for all the guys, like 5 to 6 people, I had to know all of their parts. I had to know their routes. And also remember, choreography isn't just everybody doing the same step in place. It's people switching sides. It's like structural changes, formation changes, like flips, different counts, all of this stuff. I had to know all of that for like 6 or 7 different people. And I would also just pause to say, I'll pause to say that, there are people that do this for a living and like mad respect.
So they learn every single part just so they're basically ready for anything.
Exactly.
Like one person's out, they're in.
Yeah, and they have to be on standbys. Like you got to like ready for a rebound. You don't just stand here looking at the fucking. You have to be like bend knees, like ready to pounce at any moment. Because if somebody goes down in the middle of the show, you have to go in, and you just have to know their part. And like I said, man, there are people that do this. I don't do that. I said after that show, I said no. Like I don't plan on doing that in the future. And I don't know if it was because I was young. That might actually be why, because I was like 14, 15. But that shit, like you talk about throw me in the pool and sink or swim, like I truly felt like that. And that is probably why I like work so hard now, because that's just
what have to suck too is like not even suck, but just like I guess a part of the game is if you're generally quote unquote better because you know their part and you might know their part even better than them. And then they're not messing, but they show up every day and you never get your opportunity to get on there, but you have to watch like, all right, The moment you fuck up, I'm taking it. The moment you mess up. And would you say the dance world is that kind of cutthroat? Just maybe like even, I say all art almost in a way is like that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, because if you're not, right? So if you don't have a competitive spirit, aside from the artistic like thing that you should be pushing the limit always, you should always be pushing the boundaries as an artist. But if you don't have this energy to be competitive, not just with yourself, but with other people, you're competing for roles that aren't in high availability. So you have to take the role. My brother said it perfect, because I remember I was like doing my music shit for a while and it was just not moving the way I wanted to maybe 5 years ago. And I was doing this tap shit too. And it just, I don't know, I was still doing good work, but I wasn't moving as quick as I wanted. And I told my brother, I was like, yo, like, this is how I'm feeling. He said, I said, how do I stop myself from getting upset from somebody else getting the gig? And he just said very simply, he was like this. He was like, get the gig. And I was like, but when you think about it like that, and it kind of like eliminates all excuses. Like, it really does. It's just kind of like, oh, well, I'm tired here. Like, I don't know if I'll be good enough. Like, you could like go through that cycle of thought. But if you just break down on a time frame of how much fucking time doubting yourself takes, it just tears you down. And so I feel, to answer your question, yes, I feel like you have to have a competitive nature. What you have to be careful of is to not get toxic with that. Because for me, I compete to push the boundaries of the art. I don't compete to tear people down. A lot of my closest...
Can you repeat that one more time for the people in the back? That's a great quote.
Honestly, I completely forgot. What did I just say?
I don't compete. No. I love it. You said I compete to push the art forward, basically.
Yeah.
You're competing to push the art forward.
Not to tear my friends down.
Not to tear people down, not to say I'm better. You're competing to push the performance to its highest level.
Exactly.
And I think that's the true essence of an artist, bro.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's selfless. Like, it's a service. Like, I'm going to
service,
this, and a lot of people don't realize that. That's why the ones who do are the most successful.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like a lot of my closest friends are artists, and like just the concept of like wanting to tear somebody down because I want what they want. It's like, no, like, there's literally something very similar, an opportunity very similar, or a different opportunity that's better for you if you just pursue that. Like, why are you getting stuck up on what this person is doing? And that's, I'm seeing it happen from people that I love.
Yeah, no, and we see it happen all the time. It's like, that's why it's like, thou shalt not envy, thou shalt not want. We say here in the Bible, thou shalt not want your neighbor's. I'm saying it very ghetto. That's not want your neighbor's shit, basically. You ain't supposed to want it. Direct quote. Exactly. But it's like, you're supposed to be content with yourself because you're a vessel just like they're a vessel. And that kind of helped me working in the industry of meeting these mentors and big celebrities or whatever. It's like, bro, they're humans like I'm human. Yes, they're extremely talented. But they wake up, they go to sleep like me, they go through issues, they get depressed, they get happy, they get sad just like me. The only difference is at some point in the day, they're practicing or they're working towards their art. So why do it just as much as them? Eventually, through science, you guys should meet or at least attempt. You should be pretty close if you never get past the natural ability.
Yeah, man. Patience is key. People have to have patience.
Man, and I'm sure you learning patience doing even with your music, because I want to go into even your first album or your first music that you were making. I know we talked about it earlier, and I know we kind of bouncing around. Sorry about that. Because your duality is like music and the dance. It's like two different worlds, but yet they collide and they can go in. What would you say your first, like, who'd you work with producers wise? Like, how was that process? Like, you're like, were you producing it yourself? Did you do the YouTube route? Did you go to like Drake type beat? Shit like that.
Isaiah Rashad type beat.
Yeah, Isaiah Rashad type beats.
The answer is yes. That's exactly what I did. Because for me, I would produce it, but I knew that the rate in which my lyrical and like vocal ability was progressing, my production game was just moving at a different pace. So, and I still continue to produce. Right now, I co-produce with a lot of people, and I direct producers in terms of giving them the swing in the pocket, and the rhythmic cadence and melancholy chords that I like. A lot of my music is very like blue and purple sounding, and I'm able to direct them in that capacity.
I love you said it in colors. I just start learning about like the music, seeing it in color, like the sounds and the more major, like the more major chords is like reds and yellows, and the minor chords are the blues. And trust me, I've been learning about this. Like it makes sense, but that's like the next level. But go ahead, my bad. Sorry.
Exactly. No,
synesthesia. You just said it fucked me up. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's called synesthesia. There are people when they hear sound, they can see color. So I have a good friend. His name's AJ, and he can hear a sound and be like, yeah, it's a little blue and purple and red. And I'm just like, what? Like, and I don't know the science behind it. I don't have that literal ability, but because I've seen him kind of tell me what types of sounds are colors, I'm able to see in that same capacity.
Right.
So yeah, I direct producers, you know what I'm saying? But from a young age, I did do the type beat for sure, because for me, there were certain artists that I was modeling myself after, just like those.
Who your top 5 top type beats you were typing at that moment that you were like, all right.
Yeah, J. Cole type beat. That's like my favorite artist. Like when I meet J. Cole, I keep telling people, I'm like, yo, when I meet Cole, I'm just gonna thank that nigga.
Like, you're legit one show away, bro. You're there. Like
I was gonna be like, thank you, Cole. He's gonna be like, what?
Yep. Shout out J. Cole for about to play for the Rwanda Patriots too.
Yo, let's go. Also, do you know why that's so dope? Is because another example of somebody just doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like my man is playing basketball. He's always wanted to go to the NBA. And like now he's like that's not even just like, oh, I want to paint now. Like, no, that's a whole another body conditioning, physical commitment, weight training. Like he's doing all of that because he wants to. And I think that's so dope.
Shout out Cole.
Yeah, shout out Cole.
The single is fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Interlude.
All right, so J. Cole type beats. And
J. Cole type beat. Kendrick type beat. I like Isaiah Rashad type beat. That's a big one.
That's tight.
Yeah, Chance type beat. And
isn't it funny, like when you think about all the artists that you put with back in the day when you first start, you think about the type beats you used to do. And when people say, I always ask different artists, like, what type beats did you use? Like, bro, be real. Because if you put a type beat, that's literally the artist. You're like, even if you don't want to sound like them, they probably are like, I know they got slaps. So they always got slaps, and I'm trying to get some slaps. So I'm going to practice on these slaps before. So shout out, shout out all the producers out there that put your shit out there. You're crafting a lot of young artists out there. I hope you get publishing from it or something.
Yeah. And that's I'm glad you said that, because for me, the reason why I did type beats is what you said. Producers are also modeling themselves in their creative voice over the artists they admire too. So for me, at least, until I have the ability to produce or get into a situation where I can get exclusive beats and work with somebody, I'm gonna do what I have to do to at least get heard. And I feel like a lot more people should do that. Like if you can create a record for free, just by or not free, but buy like a real cheap lease just to get the right to get over the beat. And then you bite the bullet on royalties, but you're just getting started. Like if you do enough of those, you'll get in the studio with like DJ Quick. Like now I'm working a lot with Quick, and I'm working on record with like Dave Foreman and Corey, and like there's a whole group of people that I'm now like building my next record.
Talk about working with DJ Quick, man. That is big, man.
Yeah. Well,
you said J. Cole, DJ Quick's like my oracle. Like that man as an MC, DJ, producer.
Yeah, man.
Trust me, I argue the Dilla versus DJ Quick argument with people all the time and getting heated hip hop debates about that. So talk about working with Quick, and how did that happen? What's that like, man?
So basically, I met him in Joe's studio, and it's like this same studio that Kendrick's recorded out of there, as well as SZA's recorded out of there. Just like a bunch of there's actually like a Grammy that Joe got for playing horns on Kendrick's record, and I'm just like,
Damn.
I like touch that shit like the fucking
Yeah,
log in the Apollo.
log on Apollo.
Yeah. I'm like,
I already know it. I would do the same thing. Just like, I'm just gonna get this energy. I'm gonna get this vibe.
They walked in. I'm like,
start adjusting lamps and shit.
Yeah. Like, I was just making sure it was clean, some dust on it.
That's comedy. So Quick was walking in. He was walking in the studio, and then
yeah. So he just walked in, man, and like, I mean, I was making a song with Dave Foreman, and he's a great guitarist that works a lot with Bruno Mars and did all Nipsey Hussle shit and shit.
Shout out Dave Foreman.
Yeah. And so I was working with them, and then Quick came to the studio because someone told him to come through because we were working on this joint, and then he just started to lay drums on this record that I have coming out for my next record, and like. It was just crazy because I was sitting with my friends listening to the song. And they were like, yo, this sounds like this song from this song. We're like, oh, yeah, it's because they made that song. It's like, oh, this part sounds like this song from this, my favorite song. And this song's like, yeah, they also made that track as well. It's just like you're working with the people that created your favorite shit.
Wow. I know that's a blessing, bro. I remember I saw Quick in San Diego. He performed with Sugar Free.
Oh, shit.
And it was tight because the band was coming out, right? They were playing. And then he stopped the show and then was like, all right, man, you play. And then he made the bass guitarist play boom, boom, boom. And then he told the sound guy, okay, turn it up a little bit, turn it down. All right, then he had the drums play, boom. And then they start playing. And they were playing Do I Love Her? But he literally tuned each instrument to his liking, to his ear. Because in my head, I was like, oh, it sounds great. He was like, nah, I'm not going to do the show anymore if it doesn't sound right. He literally picked up, I saw him pick up each instrument and was just tuning it while the artist was there.
Wow. Yeah, he actually just.
I was like, this Quick is different, bro. That's what I was like, it's different levels, man.
Yeah, because we were in the studio, he was running the electricity through these different things. And he was just like, all right, plug this into that. And I'm standing here with like yellow and blue chords and shit. I'm just like, what? And he's like, all right, play. And he's like, hold on, man, just take a seat. And like, they literally started like rewiring the fucking like studio because the like electric currents were affecting how he wanted to get the mix and master. And I was just like, what? Like all that shit that we just click buttons on, like on Logic, that is just like pan right or like compress here. Like this nigga was literally manually doing that shit. So.
Levels, bro. And you working with legends, man. So this project that's coming out, let's talk about this project that you got coming out, man.
Yeah.
This, first off, what's it called? Who you working with? And we'll went into that, man.
Definitely. So this project is called From the Other Side of the World. And it's a record that was originally birthed just by me being separated from someone I really cared about due to immigration. And it caused me into this, emotional spiral, if you will, just in terms of me processing the idea of not having someone just because our geographic locations aren't allowed to mesh.
Wait, so someone got like deported or something like that? And
well,
was this like your girlfriend?
A girl that I was dating at the time. She ended up like not being able to get like her visa. On some like dumb shit. And so like that just kind of caused a whole thing that we ended up, not working out. And writing this record enabled me to kind of process those emotions, come to terms with that and then, move on. And this record that was kind of the initial birth of it. But then you kind of track, like there's some sadder songs, but not really. A lot of it became like a very hopeful type party jam. Like I have a song called Camouflage that feels like an outdoor barbecue, you know what I'm saying? Or
the name of the song that you showed me, that you emailed me on the video, what was that song?
Yeah, so that song is called Say My Name. And
Say My Name. Oh my God.
Yeah, so that song has an accompanied music video that will be released as a coupled pair with the record. So
oh my God.
Ooh. Yeah. So
talk about that a little bit, man. What was that like? Shooting that video, it looked, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. Do you remember? It looked like one of them like classic hip hop. you in an old school with the girl, like you dancing, but then it's like you're dancing. Everything was synchronized. It was like too perfect. Talk about that a little bit, man. Working with that and developing that.
Yeah, definitely. So that record also, that's like a very bright side of the record too. Also, I want to be clear, like this is not a sad record. This is very much a feel-good record. Like
that's why I was looking. I was like, I don't know how sad this is. Let's see, because the tracks I'm hearing made me want to get out of dancing two-step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I guess I would say that was the original spark of when the timeline was that I started it. But literally the record became this feel-good record that kind of gets me into a celebration of where I am now. You know, now I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm living in Los Angeles. I have a beautiful girlfriend, very kind. Like, we're doing great. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything's good. So actually, she's in the music video, the shorter Lebanese white girl with the curly hair. Yeah, that's my girlfriend.
Wow. Talk about how things are so. It started off in a heartbreak, bad situation that sparked the whole thing. Isn't that crazy how in the midst of a breaking, I always like to say this theory, is power in the breaking. Sometimes you have to be broken to grow. Nothing grows in comfortable situations. Period. That's why it hurts when you work out. Your muscles break down so it can get stronger to build up. So even in the midst of your hurt, your pain, agony, sad, you know, very melancholy tones and vibes and feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
It birthed probably was going to be one of the hardest summer slaps that's about to come out, man.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And also, I want to say that this was over like years' time. I don't want people to be like,
I didn't know that. Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
this was years time.
So when did you start working on the project then?
I started working on this. I've been sitting, and it's gone through phases, right? Because I made new songs that I added, subtracted songs and shit. But I've been working with this vision in mind for about 2 years. And so there's been a lot of planning and anticipation for the record that I think is going to be a more distinguishable drop from the other stuff that I've done in the past, just because it has a level of preparation and anticipation behind it. So Say My Name is part of that music video that you mentioned, because we had made that song. The guy who produced that is Joel Sachs, very talented producer, also crazy saxophonist, like ridiculous. Check him out.
I love Joel Sachs. That's a tight ass name, by the way. That's just and he plays the sax. That's fucking
it's like he's hard too. Like, he's dope. So he produced the track, and I wrote and recorded the track. He produced it, I wrote and recorded. We did that in less than 24 hours.
Woo!
For Say My Name.
Was it just that the vibe was flowing that good in the studio that day? You're like, okay, we need to do this like now.
Yeah, because basically I went in there with him, played him a bunch of music. He played me some stuff of his, which was also really fire. And then he was like, let's build something custom. And then I gave him early direction on the instrumentation. I left. He did his thing, killed it. I got there. I heard it. It sparked immediate inspiration. And then I sat there, I wrote it, I recorded it. I did that within 3 hours. And then we mixed it, and then got it mastered. And then it just became to be like one of the dopest songs on the record. So we shot a music video for it. And I wanted a video that, was basically, it framed me as a musician, and I am a musician, but it had dance elements. So it wasn't me completely sacrificing my dance background. And it was me with my homies. Like, I've known the people in those videos since I was young.
I was like, all the dancers, was those people you danced with in the past?
Like, those are just my homies. Yeah.
Wow. Y'all were cold as shit. Cold as shit. I love the synchronized dance with the skin. Because
I choreographed that. I'm so glad you like that.
You choreographed that shit
choreographed that, yeah. Yo, niggas had to thank. I had to thank for that because I'm used to choreographing in the shoe, and there's a whole rhythmic component. Like, I can stand here on one foot and do like 8 counts of choreography just on one fucking foot. Whereas like when you don't have sound on the shoe or from the shoe, you have to, it's more visual is what I'm saying. So wow. It was a challenge for me because I've choreographed stuff outside of the shoe, but not for a while. But I wanted to take that challenge, and
I'm really impressed because I seen it, but I was like, I wonder if he did it all by himself or did he have? You did that just So you seen you moving through the streets, almost like in the almost West Side Story-ish. Like you guys moving with your friends and going to Snap and then going there, but it wasn't corny. It was hip hop.
Yeah, it was hip hop. Yeah, exactly.
Like, and that's where we didn't even talk about that. Like, where did your hip hop influences come from? Where did that start coming in? Because we talked about tap. We talked even about, you know, Marvin Gaye, the singing it in your parents growing up and you're at home. But what about, how did you like hip hop? When did that come into Leo's life? And how did you start intertwining that even with your tap?
Yeah, definitely. So hip hop, man, I've always been a huge fan of hip hop. I've also had a very aggressive primal nature about me. While I'm sensitive, I have a lot of aggression, especially from a young age, that I knew I needed to get out, wanted to get out. And hip hop is that type of medium that represents just raw expression, raw cadence. It's just a real special thing. So I've always listened to it, like Biggie, Little Brother, Elzai. Yeah.
Wait, like, slow down. You're naming niggas don't know about Elzai, first of all. I fuck with Elzai. And then Little Brother is probably, man, shout out Pooh and Fonte, like, and I Wonder, like, that whole movement fucked me up, bro. And you said those two, man. So how'd you discover them? Was it just like, were you on OK Player and Two Dope Boys and you found it like the rest of us? Or how'd you find it?
No, so I had an old high school teacher. His name's Dominic, and he's a DJ Dread. And he just has like the most incredible catalog of music, and he would expose me to these artists. What kind
of high school did you go to that you had a DJ as a teacher?
Not the one you would think, actually. I actually went to a private, predominantly like white high school, like in Northwest DC. But him and I were the rarities at that school.
Makes sense. Okay, got you.
Hence why we gravitated towards each other. But yeah, he was like, and he lived close to me, so. You know, when I couldn't drive and my mom couldn't drive me, he would pick me up and we would just bump the shit in the car. And that really gave me like a huge inspiration. And then I got into Cole when I was like ninth grade maybe. And that completely changed my life. Like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, just their perspective so uniquely sculpted in their rhythms and how they're able to execute thoughts and ideas in such a musical way. I never heard anything like that. And J. Cole, I remember like, back to the topic, actually forgot it. Hoes money on the shit. Oh yeah, I'm reminded, like, that's just so witty. Like, and so that, how can you not love hip hop when you're listening to
that? You're right. No, you're right. What was the first album you purchased with your money?
Ooh, honestly, Lil Bow Wow.
Respect.
Yeah. That's a great question. What was yours?
Mine was West Side Connection. West Side Connection Bow Down record. Because I was in the west side of Moreno Valley and I went to Circuit City and it was my birthday and my mom gave me money and that song was so hood. And then after that was Little Bow Wow. A Little Bow Wow, I for sure bought Beware the Dog. That was like one of my first albums I did buy. Wow. And I went through like a Will Smith phase. Like and when I was growing up, I was really on some like whatever was popular from radio. Like I didn't dig in. It took me into like smoking weed, getting into a lot of wavy drug scene in my life when I was like in high school. That's when I started digging in. And I was making mixed CDs for people. So when I was making mixed CDs for people, people will always request different songs. Like they'd be like, "Hey, here's a list of the songs I want." They'll give me $20, and I'll download all the songs. It'll take me like all day, probably like 3 days. Wow. But then at the end of it, I just end up having so much different music. That's how I discovered like 311. That's how I discovered like Led Zeppelin and fucking all those like Fleetwood Mac. Like I didn't even know. I didn't grow up with that. My parents wasn't bumping that. Like we were like a Motown house. Like we in fucking John Coltrane and Santana. Like it was crazy. It was all a black and brown kind of house. We really didn't venture off too much. So that's how I discovered a lot of that stuff, man. And then from there, that's why you gotta come to one of my DJ sets one of these days, or you'll see I have a very eclectic palette of DJ. And you
I would
actually
love
see
that,
me
yeah.
DJ though at the Dash, but that was like the turn up shit. That was the club, the vibe,
Yeah,
bro.
but you had that vibe and shit, and I remember the stage was so like tightly compacted in the fucking
Yep.
thing. I remember that because for those that don't know, they put the monitor right in your pathway and like expect you to
Yes.
frog leap over that shit.
I'm too big for that shit, bro. I was like, I'm moving this shit, my nigga. We ain't doing that, bro.
No, I checked out your like updated post just about your progression in terms of weight loss and health and fitness. Yo, mad respect.
I appreciate that, man. It's been a journey, bro.
That's a big deal.
Thank you, man. Hey, trust me, oh man, I'm not even gonna get emotional. It's just been a lot, bro. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you noticing it. And that's why I'm able to hop over that monitor and I was able to be energized because I used to not even be able to DJ like standing up. It would have been hard. I used to need like a stool to sit down and then I would DJ and I'll still be hype on the mic yelling, but it'll be me sitting down. Now I can like stand up the whole time, move around, jump around, move, energy, the whole thing. So God's been good. All praise to God on that one, man. Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
100%, man. 100%.
Hey, before we get up out of here, I want to ask you how'd you start working with T Nava and the Free Nationals, bro? Because that's how I met you. Work with them, and y'all did that tribute to. Please tell me the name of that artist when y'all did the tribute, because I don't want to mess it up.
Mac Miller. Time.
No, it was Mac Miller, but no. I'm talking about it was like a Spanish.
So I'm confusing the gigs. We did a separate.
You did so many gigs. No, it's okay. I know you worked with them a lot, bro. I'm saying that one though.
Chick Corea. That's who you're talking about.
Chick Corea, bro.
Yeah. That song's crazy. I fucked up the end, but yeah, that's just crazy.
It was, and you were fucking it up though. And I have the video, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is probably one of the rarest shit I see."
Thank you.
And the way y'all all came together, y'all are synchronized. Your taps was another instrument, bro. Like it was you're a member of the band. Like, it sounded like I was like, if you close your eyes, it would sound like it was just a different instrument playing. You wouldn't know
like
it was
a drum or some shit.
Exactly, man. So talk about like how'd y'all start working together? How did he even reach out to you, or how you reach out to him? How did that work out?
Yeah, well, that's also, just so you know, that's the biggest compliment a tap dancer can get is like, you can say, "Oh, you look great," but if you say you sounded great, that's the whole.
It's real, bro. It's real, man.
Yeah. So, man, I just had an introduction to T Nava, pulled through a studio and shit, talked, played some music. It was vibes immediately. Super, super down to earth guy. Very talented. Like, sometimes, because that's also like one of my favorite bands too, Free Nationals, in terms of like their movement, the music they're making too. Yeah. So it was really cool to just kind of, one, be in the same room, but two, be able to share music and vibe. And the main thing that is important to remember is like, talent really is the root of our most favorite artists. Like, I feel like sometimes we get wrapped up in the casual nature of speaking about like the Grammys or some shit, or speaking about the BET Awards when our friends play them that are in high places. But it's like, nah, like they're playing on huge television platforms because they're talented.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not luck. I don't like the word luck. I don't like, I was lucky. Like, bro, you're talented. You worked hard, and it was your time.
Yeah, and then there are people that get opportunities to do big level gigs like that aren't as talented, but then you don't see them around for too long. So there's a distinction. And me saying this is to say that T Nava is like just really fucking talented. And so I would dance along. I strapped my shoes on, like no one asked me to. I just did it. And
in the studio?
Yeah, he had a wood floor, so it's like,
you're so tight.
It's like you can't tell me not to. Like, I asked him. I said, "How much do you care about these floors?" And then he was like, "I mean, not really." I was like, "You mind if I fuck it up?" And then he was like, "No, go ahead, bro." And then then we just started vibing, and then we just vibed for like 2 to 3 hours. And then he was like, "Yo," he was like, "What are you doing like this date?" And I was just like, "I'm around." And so then we just started reading out.
History. And then you kept doing them from there. We'll talk about that Mac Miller tribute, man, because I know when Mac felt Wiz Mac, you know, to all of us, man, like is a legend, you know, in that, and dear friend to a lot of my friends out here. You know, talk about that, what that tribute meant, and how was that, man? Where was it at?
Yeah, it was cool. So, rest in peace, Mac Miller. Shout out. We did a virtual streaming service called Happen. They were doing their app launch, and then they asked us to, or actually, they asked the Free Nights to kind of do a 30-minute set. And then I was featured on 2 of the songs. One was Time, which was a tribute to Mac Miller because he put a verse on that, and the other one was Eternal Light, which I love that song. Bro.
Eternal Light's cold.
Yeah.
And Free National, the Free Nationals album, that album is just seamless, man. Mm-hmm. That's what I remember when I saw Tina. I was like, hey, man, I love that music, man. Y'all gave me music to dry to, smash to, cook to, clean to. Get my shit together. Like it's perfect. It's great, man.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Man. You worked on Time, and you were doing that on the live stream, man. And I'm sure that was amazing, bro.
Yeah, well, Time is a special song, and I wanted to honor Mac Miller just by dancing. Transcribing parts of his verse and incorporating that with what I did, because I had the opportunity to rap, which was cool. And I think in the future, I would love to do something like that. But it just felt right at that time to just speak through the shoe, because we had Alex Isley that was singing the hook, and just let people sing the verse at home. You know what I'm saying? And it was cool because Nava was able to see the potential for how tap dance can be an added attribute towards something like that, because I mean you don't see tap dance in a context like that too often. So, he's also, I big up him too, because I mean he saw the vision and was like, yeah, let's do it. So
do you feel like because you were just saying, like, you know, you don't see it a lot often, like live musicians using tap dancing, like especially like it was back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then 90s. It was like kind of like.
Well, let me clarify. You do see it a lot, just not on that level.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was gonna ask you, like, because I don't want to say is it a losing or lost art because you don't see it as much, or is it just not in hip hop? Or not in those.
Exactly. Yeah. So hip hop is one of the most contemporary like artistic expressions right now, which is rooted in the fundamentals of jazz, which is the brother sister art form of tap dance. So hip hop dance came with hip hop, but tap dance somehow got lost in translation in terms of being coupled with the contemporary expression and music of hip hop. And for me, like there was never like a science towards combining them. It was just kind of like, because I'm a hip hop artist and I also tap dance, it just eventually came together. But I think the reason why tap dance doesn't get as much notoriety as it did back in like Gregory Hines' era is just mainly because it has to be propped up in that contemporary platform on high platforms like that. So the Free Nationals is like a very well-known band. So it takes more people like the Free Nationals to take on tap dancers and be like, nah, like let's make it a point to get this here. You know what I mean?
That makes total sense, bro. Sorry, I'm still thinking about what you were saying, like how we're not seeing it, how it got lost in translation. That's kind of fucked up. It's kind of crazy because everything else progressed with hip hop and jazz, because jazz is improvisation. It was improvisational. Hip hop, taking a break beat and rapping on it, was improvisational. So it's like everything, tap dancing, technically, in its form, you could improv. That's where it was. You can always do it. So,
and creatively, it's leveling up to not just because you're up, but creatively, it is leveling up, just not the notoriety of it. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Like, I still have, like, I represent a community, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's my dream to like do these big award shows and just have a fucking crew of tap dancers while I'm on the mic. I might not even have shoes on. I just might be standing here like, and then everybody's fucking going off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might be like that because the culture is cool. Yes,
it sounds like an instrument, bro. It is an instrument. Your tapping is an instrument, because if you hear it synchronized with the music, I heard it that day. That's when I was sold. So with Nava and you doing, and even you working in your music with hip hop, that's why I love the fact that I don't want to classify you as the hip hop tap dancer. That's not what you are. You're an artist who happens to know how to tap dance and do hip hop music and do like it's like a different.
That's
vibe.
Exactly it, bro. I've worked years for people to put that fucking sentence together for real. Like, that is so. I'm so happy you.
No, because in my life I've seen tap dancers who did hip hop, and it like okay.
Yeah, me too, bro.
You see it on the Apollos, and you see it like at the local whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool. But then when I saw you doing it, and then you sent me the videos, and I'm seeing your Instagrams and how you're doing your stuff, and then you set it up, I'm like, oh, he does a lot of different art. Like he sings, he does melodies, he does rapping, he does producing, and you're directing, choreography, like. Hey, this is what I like to call a man of many talents, and you're doing it. And that's what you're supposed to do, because that's what even the greats did. We were talking about it earlier. That's what the Sammy Davis did. Sammy Davis Jr.'s did. Greggy Hines did. You know, that's what they were doing. They killed in film. People don't even know. I didn't even know Greggy Hines danced until I was like 10, because I only knew him from acting. Like
you see him with like
no
Billy
dancing.
Crystal and all this. Yeah.
There we go. And then I look back, I was like, wait a minute, why is he dancing? And my dad was like, no, that's one of the coldest tap dancers ever. That's my dad made it sound like, oh, well, that acting shit was just like what he does, but what he really does is dancing. I was like, oh, he's really revolutionary. Like, so I not putting the pressure on you, not saying that, but I can see you taking those same steps as if our legends and people we look up to are doing. So, hats off to you on that, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And before we get up out of here, though, bro, I always like to ask, like a couple rapid fire questions, just to see what's up. So we were talking about, your top 5 people in hip hop. I want to know top 5 people, I guess, as a whole that has influenced you as far as tap, music, business, that you're going to give your Mount Rushmore. Who is your Mount Rushmore?
That are famous?
Don't have to be famous. It could be a mixture. You could just...
Damn, you said rapid fire. I might have to think about this shit. No, okay. No, I know what to say. I know. Elon Musk.
Shout out Elon.
Yeah, I love just like how innovative he is. Rapid fire. Elon Musk, J. Cole, Kendrick, the CEO of Walt Disney, whoever it is, whether Bob Isley or Bob Iger, I think his name is. I might fuck that name.
It's Bob Iger.
Yeah.
They'll Google it. Big Cali World fans, they Google. They'll let you know in the comments, bro.
They gonna let me know. Everybody be like,
they're gonna let you know. They're like, oh, bro, it's like.
And my mom, last person.
Wow, I love that, man. Man. All right, what do you enjoy doing more, dancing or making music?
You about to get me fucking punched out in this shit. I'm gonna mute my mic. Be like,
you can say both. I ain't gonna set you up like that, man. I just wanted to see where you are.
I had to say both. But what I can say is like I'm very excited for the music that is about to come out for everybody. Like I'm very excited.
Wow, man. Also, where is it in lasting rapid fire? What advice do you give to someone who maybe wants to transition? And maybe they are a dancer and they do dance, but they want to transition to art. Maybe they're an artist and they want to start dancing. Or maybe they want to start doing, maybe they're a photographer and they want to people that want to do the cross art, like not putting yourself in that box. What advice do you give to that artist, man?
Yeah, so I've always sometimes when you look at people you admire, celebrities that have been famous for a while, and you see them say the same quote over the years in interviews, and then someone cuts it together. Hopefully, I want this to be the quote. The quote is, the amount of time that you spend doing one thing is the same amount of time that you spend not doing another. Meaning, if you are doing a job that you hate, you are investing in something that is not ever going to get you to do what you love. And I think if you understand that on a visceral level, it will allow you to not even give yourself the choice of settling, because you know you would be upset ultimately if you settle, you know?
Yes. That's
So pretty
heavy.
much just say, like, literally do what you want to do, because if you don't, you will live in a lot of regret.
And that's dark. That's dark. It's a lot of people that work jobs, do things you want, and they be like, then it's like, it even gets darker because then you have kids and then you start living through your kids because you wanted to do something. So then you put their stuff on and it can just keep going to generations. So you're absolutely correct, man. That's just heavy, bro.
Exactly.
Man, do what you do, man. Honestly, and choose it. It's okay to fail. Like, that's something as a Capricorn, me in my life, it's hard for me to even fathom failure. Like, no, we're failing, so I'm going to do this and it may not work. Because what does that mean? It just may not work right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
it always ends up working.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, like, there's no other option. And it's not to say that you're selfishly doing what you love. It's that you have to know that by doing what you love, you'll actually be able to generate more of a pool of energy from other people to pull from as well, whether that's financially or whether that's just like your creative, like, magnetic energy that inspires other people to be creative, you know, like, ultimately that serves everybody if you just start as early as you can to really do what you know you want to do.
Man, that's heavy, bro. I love it, bro. That's great, man. We're gonna end it right there, bro. I want just people to have that gem, bro, have that wisdom. And bro, where can people get your stuff? Where can people look up your thing? This is your time. Shout out anybody, do your plugs, because I want people to hear the music, see you dance, see you dancing, see the videos, talk it out, man. Shout it out, man. Where can people
Definitely. So if you're interested on my artistic journey, you can find me on leomanzari.com. You can find me on Instagram at Leo Manzari. I keep it very basic. Everything's just at Leo Manzari on Facebook, Instagram, my website. And, you know, I would just say whatever, also Clubhouse, Leo Manzari, if people are on Clubhouse as well.
Oh, there's people on Clubhouse in the Big Cali Road. Yep. Go ahead and start the room.
Hell yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I have a record that I put a lot of my heart and soul into it, a lot of musical preparation. That record is called From the Other Side of the World. It is coming out the first weekend in June. Let it be the musical background to your day. Let it be the uplifting spirit to your evening. And much love. Thanks for the support, everybody.
Hey, man, real shit, man. And you're on Spotify,
Apple Music, everywhere
Google
you can
Play,
stream music.
everywhere.
Yep, everywhere you can stream music. Yeah,
stream it up, get it up, get the views up, man. I'm sure we're gonna see each other again. You know what we got to do? I'm a DJ, and you got to tap while I DJ, bro.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do a set. That would be tight, man. We're gonna do some shit, bro.
I actually just got these crazy mics that I could bring those in, and we could do some crazy shit.
I'm down. Hey, don't play. You're one call away now. Now I know you. So now you one call. Nah, I'm fucking with you, bro. Nah, that's the vibe, though. It's going to be great. We're going to do it. And you're out here in LA now, right?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Cool. Well, we'll link up for sure, man. Well, anyway, for this podcast and for this podcast, Arguing Radio, go to BigCaliWorld.com. Also, it's available on the YouTube page. Go to Big Cali World YouTube. Subscribe. We need as many subscribers as possible. You can see it audio. You can see it visually. However you want to see it, you can see Big Cali World. Go ahead and do that. Also, for all your podcast needs, if you want to start a podcast, go to productiveculture.com/podcast. In the How Did You Hear About Us section, put in Big Cali World. Put in Big Cali. Put in the nice, sexy black dude with the beard told me to come here. And then literally they will give you a special discount. Get your podcast started. Do not hit me and say, Big C, how do I start a podcast? When I'm telling you, productiveculture.com/podcast will get your podcast started. He'll set you up. That's what I use. We do virtual and in person. Okay. And if you're vaxxed up, you for sure can come in person. Okay. So, and yeah, man. Oh, shout out UTB, UTB Lifestyle .store for all your swag. I know Reem hates when I say swag, but fuck him. So yeah, for all your clothes, accessories, all the drip, You know what it is, man. And it's a vibe, man. And Leo, I appreciate you coming on the show, bro. It's been a vibe. You got to come on again, man. We're gonna do this again after the album drops. We're gonna talk about it once it drops. After you gonna do a listening party?
Yeah, actually, yep.
All right. Well, after all that, we might have to do a live interview there or something. We'll figure it out, bro.
You know I got you. I'll shoot you that invite.
All right, man. I appreciate you, bro. But anyway, man, it's the man with the plan. I ain't Clark Kent, but some of the ladies do call me Superman. It's your boy, Big Cali. Feeling good, feeling great, man. We out. Big Cali, we appreciate you, Leo.
Peace.
Big Cali world all the time. Extra lit, extra lit, extra lit. Big Cali world all the time. Extra lit, extra lit, extra lit.